Now, The Hunt Palmer Show. You are now listening to The Hunt Palmer Show on 104.5 ESPN Baton Rouge. Looking down the middle of the day. Live from the Mercedes-Benz of Baton Rouge studios. This is Hunt Palmer.
Practice field. They report to camp today. On the practice field tomorrow, 9:45 a.m. is when we're going to be able to go out there and see the Tigers in the helmets for the first time in the fall of 2024. So we'll talk a little bit about that coming up. I want to talk specifically about LSU's safeties. Been doing a little writing on their safeties and kind of had some thoughts that I wanted to get on the airwaves. So we'll do that 15 minutes from right now. It's What If Wednesday. Got a few interesting what ifs that have come in via Twitter. We'll talk about some of those. Meet the Freshmen. We'll do that 1 hour from right now. A couple more on the list for today. Trey'Dez Green and Gabe Relaford, two big-time members of this past signing class that could play a factor on this year's team. We'll talk about them at 2 o'clock. Dennis Allen met with the media yesterday. We'll get you some updates from Saints camp. And LSU got some recruiting news that has come in over the last hour that we'll get to at 2:30 today. So lots and lots to do. Appreciate you buckling up and hanging out with us here on 104.5 ESPN Baton Rouge. Clint Kubiak met with the assembled media yesterday out west and had quite a few things to talk about now that the Saints have had the pads on for 2 days, just wrapped up day 3 in pads, and they will have a day off tomorrow before getting back after it. First preseason game not until next weekend. So they got some time. And obviously Clint Kubiak right now is kind of thought of as the one guy who can change the fortune of this franchise, which has been mired in the muck of mediocrity since Sean Payton and Drew Brees moved on. Clint Kubiak's the breath of fresh air. He's the guy that's supposed to come in, take what was a very, very average offense, elevate it so that the Saints' above-average defense can pair with that to become a better-than-league average team, which is what they've been essentially for the last 3 seasons. So Clint Kubiak had a number of things to say. We'll kind of run through them here. The first was talking about whether or not he can tell and when he can tell when a new offense is kind of gelling and coming together.
Well, I think it's stupid to say, but when we line up against Carolina, we want to see where we're at. You know, we want to be at our best in that first game. I think that we're really demanding of these guys, and we expect it to look right the first time. You know, is it going to be perfect? No, but that's what we expect as coaches, and we're trying to be really detailed as coaches and be hard on the guys. I am pleased with our progress. We're heading in the right direction.
That first part of the answer was kind of exactly where the entirety of the fan base is. Said, well, when will you know? Well, we'll go out there against Carolina, because nobody is really going to care what happens in the preseason. One, you don't expect Derek Carr to play hardly at all in the preseason. Last year he played 1 drive. It was brilliant. Right down the field, Sherman through Georgia. Touchdown. Oh, my God, they got something now. And it wasn't great when they got to the regular season. So everybody's got that thought process as we enter training camp. Nobody in black and gold, as far as the fan base goes, really cares what it looks like in joint practices or a preseason game or what the media has reported back or even what the coaches said. Let's see it against Carolina, and that's where Clint Kubiak kind of is at this point. How do you get the team to understand what you're trying to do? That was the next question asked of Clint Kubiak.
That's critical, you know. That's what we harp on every day in meetings. That's what we're teaching, and I think our guys have done a good job of understanding that. And that's our job as coaches to make it look the same, make them understand what we're trying to do. But it's on our players to go beat man coverage and go get open. So they have to know that it's not all scheme. Okay, you got to go win. So it's a two-way street.
So I think that's going to be incumbent upon the wide receivers. You're going to need Chris Olave and Rashid Shaheed to beat man coverage time and time again. That's how you win in the NFL. The best wide receivers in the league are perfectly comfortable sitting down and beating zone defenses, but man-to-man is the bread and butter, and you've got to go get that done. And that's not necessarily scheme. That's dudes. And we think Chris Olave is a dude, and we think Rashid Shaheed is a dude. They got to be that, and they've proven enough where I don't necessarily doubt that to this point. But I think that there's reason to believe the Saints are okay right there. Let's go here to the fifth one back and talking about responding to adversity. Does he identify kind of what they look like when bad things happen? And when you're installing an offense, that's bound to happen.
Every day is adverse here against Coach Allen's defense and Joe Woods. Unbelievable scheme, really physical. Our defense rips the ball out better than anybody. They're forcing turnovers, so we're better just by going against them every day.
I do buy that. That is the one piece of Saints camp that is more compelling than LSU's fall practice. You're going to see a lot of ones-on-ones in live reps with the Saints. You're going to see Trevor Penning try to deal with Cam Jordan and Carl Granderson and Chase Young. You're going to see those DBs who are well-seasoned and we think very talented players go against these wide receivers. You're going to see Derek Carr facing off against a top half of the NFL defense. Like, that is compelling to an extent. LSU, we don't get to see a lot of it. There's a lot of no tackling that we get to see. It's just not as good an access, and that's college football versus the NFL for you. So I think that there is some quality that you can see from a reporting standpoint with what goes on at practice, because the ones-and-ones are doing a lot of work. Again, it's structured in a way that is kind of cultivated, and it's not exactly what you're going to see against Carolina coming up in the first game, but there's something to be said there, and I think that's a reasonable thing to expect. All right, Derek Carr, he's the straw that stirs this drink. He's the guy that's supposed to be the trigger man and make this thing work for Clint Kubiak, and the new offensive coordinator spoke about his quarterback.
I can't say enough good things about Carr. From the way he studies, the type of professional he is, he's very coachable. He's hard on himself. He's hard on his teammates. He's got the demeanor you want.
I think all that is exactly what we already know. I have no doubts about Derek Carr's ability to prepare. I have no doubt about his ability to be a pro. I have no doubt about his ability to speak with the media. I have no doubt about his intensity and his fire and his will to win. All of the intangible things Derek Carr's got. He's been in the league for better than a decade, 11 years. Like, he knows how to do this. Question is, can he do it? Can he make the plays? Can he make the throws? Can he avoid the mistakes? Can he make the plays in the red zone on third down? That's the question. It's not, is he a good guy? I know he's a good guy. It's not, is he a pro? I know he's a pro. It's not, does he understand what he's supposed to be doing? All of that we already know. It's, will he do it on the field? That's really more the issue. And again, not something we're going to find out until they play Carolina. Now, you heard the conviction in Clint Kubiak's voice talking about Derek Carr, and I think that's a good thing. I was listening to Jacob and T-Bob this morning, and T-Bob kind of really read a lot into that soundbite, saying, like, I think Kubiak really thinks he's got something in Carr, and Jacob kind of backed up and was like, I'm just not buying anything Derek Carr's selling. Until I see something September, October, November, just count me out on the Carr. Okay, and so I'm probably in the middle of that somewhere. I don't completely trust Derek Carr to revitalize his career, but I also think he's a very functional NFL quarterback. But you don't hear that same conviction when you hear the answer that he gave on Trevor Penning. Here are those thoughts from Clint Kubiak.
More of the same. From the start, Trevor's been buying into everything we've coached him. We've been really pleased with him. And just up front, there's a lot of great leadership there. It starts with Eric McCoy, and guys follow Eric's lead. And Trevor is off to a good start.
Off to a good start. And let me tell you about Eric McCoy. He's the real leader up front. I think that is, look, if 10 is hard news and 1 is completely made up, I think that's probably somewhere around a 3. Like, it's not that big a deal. But I'm just trying to gather any scrap here or there that I can of positivity on Trevor Penning. And we did a segment about him yesterday, and we talked about it at length. And it's just, it doesn't feel great. And it would be a surprise, mildly, if it did feel great in year 3. But we laid out the reasons why it could be. And that answer, what do you think about Trevor Penning? Well, he's coming along, and Eric McCoy is a really good leader. Like, that's not a ringing endorsement. I don't know that anybody in black and gold really buys into the fact that they're going to salvage Trevor Penning. I think that you're going to look at him as long as you possibly can in this training camp, and then you're going to have to make a decision. And that doesn't have to come for another 4 weeks, but you're going to have to make a decision. I just don't know if it's going to go great. Last year we saw him start the season at left tackle. You know how poorly it went. Just every single bit of information that you pile up doesn't feel great. When you look at the reps that he took yesterday, one against Carl Granderson, where he got absolutely cooked in a one-on-one. Now, one-on-one's there to benefit the D lineman. We know that, but he absolutely got cooked, and then you hear that answer, and it just doesn't feel super awesome when I hear answers and see video of Trevor Penning to this point. But we'll keep keeping you updated as best we can. That's Clint Kubiak talking about his new offense here as they're a week deep into training camp out there in Irvine. We'll talk a little Saints a little bit later on in the show, but I do want to switch over to LSU. The Tigers will put on some helmets, and they'll go out there and work out tomorrow morning. We will be there. I just want to give some thoughts on safety play. No, it wasn't great last year. Is there a reason to believe that it's going to improve? We'll talk about that coming up next.
You are now listening to the Hunt Palmer Show.
Peace of mind's a powerful thing, knowing that you don't have to worry. And if you have a home standby generator from Generac and the folks at Boudreaux's Electrical, you don't have to worry about power outages. They can happen for any number of reasons in South Louisiana. Of course, hurricanes come through. Of course, those afternoon summer showers can be intense. We had an ice storm back in January that knocked out power. You don't have to deal with that if you've got a home standby generator from the folks at Boudreaux's Electric. Maybe you work from home. You work from home and you've got to be productive and you can't if the internet and power goes out. Well, make sure it doesn't. Boudreaux's Electrical can help you with that. And every single Generac home standby generator that comes from Boudreaux's Electrical comes with a 7 to 10 year warranty. Peace of mind knowing the power's not going to go out, and you don't have to worry about the maintenance of the equipment because Boudreaux's Electrical is going to handle that for you. They also monitor your generator 24 hours a day, 7 days a week. And when they do that, they know if something goes wrong, even if you're not even aware of it. There's no weather in the area, but the kids are out in the front yard. Somebody throws a football, bashes into the generator, something comes loose. Boudreaux's will know about it. They'll call you, say, hey, something's not right with your generator. Let's come out there and fix it. They'll get it fixed so that when you do need that generator to power your home, power goes out, it's going to work. Call them, 985-397-1562. 985-397-1562 is the number. Visit them online, boudreauxelectrical.com. boudreauxelectrical.com.
Our listeners fire off their opinions on the jimsfirearms.net hotline at 499-1045. Keep listening for your next chance to shoot us your thoughts with the jimsfirearms.net hotline on 1045 ESPN Baton Rouge.
Bayou Chrysler Dodge Jeep Ram is taking $20,000 off new 23 Ram 1500 trucks. We're open for business in our beautiful new showroom and taking $20,000 off the powerful Ram truck. All new Bayou vehicles come with a 7-year, 100,000-mile warranty. The crew at Bayou Automotive is going to do right by you.
Jerry and Benny Payne began Central Plumbing Company out of their driveway in Tanglewood Subdivision. 50 years later and 4 generations down the road, we continue to serve Baton Rouge and the surrounding areas for all of their plumbing needs. Residential, commercial, industrial, or hospitality, Central Plumbing is here 24/7, 365.
We want to thank our customers, family, and friends for 50 years of success.
And looking forward to 50 more.
There it is, the extra mile, on the border of expected and extraordinary for those willing to go further, like vans customized for work or play, with safety and tech to keep you connected, supported by a 5-star sales, service, and finance team, and backed by the 1-star you know. So go the extra mile. It's never crowded, because so few have what it takes to go there. Mercedes-Benz Vans.
When it comes to ending cancer, we push forward, always working together for you. That's why our cancer experts at Ochsner have clinically integrated with MD Anderson Cancer Center. This means advanced cancer care, including access to life-saving clinical trials and integrating care to treat the whole you. Introducing Ochsner MD Anderson Cancer Center. Long live you.
Hey, it's Matt Moscona. For years, you've heard me tell you about Insurance Network of Louisiana, helping you find better coverage for less money. But it's not just for your home and auto. They also offer commercial property. So, retail stores, professional offices like doctors, dentists, attorneys, clothing boutiques. Insurance Network of Louisiana can find you better coverage for less money. They service the entire state of Louisiana, and they're local. So call today at 293-0450 or lainsurance.net.
Bayou Ford has $10,000 off F-150. $10,000 off the new 2024 Ford F-150. And all new Bayou Ford vehicles come with a 7-year, 100,000-mile warranty. The crew at Bayou Ford is going to do right by you.
Join us for the Thursday edition of Live at Lunch from Snow's Seafood and Steak on Airline Highway in Gonzales. Chris Rosvoglu from Saints Camp, Dwayne Colucci from Las Vegas, and LSU's in camp. We'll have a report fresh off the practice field. Live at Lunch from Snow's on Thursday, 104.5 ESPN Baton Rouge.
You're listening to the Hunt Palmer Show on 104.5 ESPN Baton Rouge.
All right, we know LSU's defense was not great last year. I think that's fair to say, right? I mean, oh, gosh. Only LSU football unit that's ever made me apathetic. Like, I just could not muster any anger with the defense about halfway through the Missouri game, because you had seen the Florida State game and you'd seen the Ole Miss game and you'd seen the Missouri game halfway, and LSU never got a stop ever under any circumstance in any of those games. And I just was like, what am I supposed to do? Get mad when they give up another touchdown, another touchdown, another touchdown? I'm not going to keep getting mad 7 times a game. That just seems irrational. I literally got to that point. And then the defense, of course, got a couple stops against Missouri and they won the game, but it was bad, and every level was bad. Every aspect was bad. They didn't stop the run. They didn't rush the passer. They didn't cover. They didn't tackle. They didn't have a good scheme. They didn't have good assignments. They were bad at everything. There's not one thing I could point to and go, but that was really good on the defense. So, of course, if I tell you that everything on the defense is bad, then, of course, safety play is bad. Makes sense? So I was thinking about LSU's safeties entering this year. And you look at the unit. Last year you started the season, Greg Brooks was there and obviously had that situation and he left the team. And Andre Sam was on the team. You had Major Burns and Sage Ryan on the team as well. And Ryan Yates played a little bit late in the season. And a lot of these cast of characters have returned. Major Burns is back. Sage Ryan is back. Jordan Allen was on the team last year. He's back. Kylan Jackson was on the team. He's back. And then you bring in Jordan Gilbert as a transfer. And then you've got freshmen in Deshaun Spears and Joel Rogers, and Austin Osbury comes in and transfer. And all of a sudden, I look at LSU's safety room and I go, okay, Major Burns, Sage Ryan, Jordan Allen, Kylan Jackson, Jordan Gilbert, Deshaun Spears, Joel Rogers, Austin Osbury. That's 8 guys. And that's not even counting Juwan Johnson, who may get some time at safety as well. That would be 9. That's a lot of dudes at safety. And it's not like a bunch of guys they picked up off the street or a bunch of guys that were D2 players last year. Or like Major Burns was a 4-star. He's been in college for 4 years. He's made 23 starts. Sage Ryan was a 5-star. He started games as a true freshman. Jordan Gilbert was a 4-star recruit. He played in 25 games at Texas A&M. I mean, those 3 guys, Major Burns, Sage Ryan, and Jordan Gilbert, have combined to start 47 games. Not playing, start 47 games. That's a lot of experience. And then Kylan Jackson was a 4-star. Deshaun Spears is a 4-star. Joel Rogers was a 4-star. There's some size and some physicality there. Like, you've got a lot of guys who have played and a lot of young talent. It would stand to reason, to me, that they could find 2 guys to go back there and play quality safety. We have seen Jamal Adams play as a freshman. We've seen Eric Reed play as a freshman. Those guys played safety very early in their career. Now, those guys are exceptional talents. So is Grant Delpit. We're talking about 5-star players that are NFL starters. And I don't know if Joel Rogers or Deshaun Spears are going to be in that conversation or not, but it's possible. I think maybe the biggest thing here is the positional switch, and it's twofold. One, Major Burns goes from playing in the back end to doing a lot of covering that he wasn't great at, moving up to star. He's going to be around the line of scrimmage more, able to use his physicality a little bit more, a lot more tackling, a lot less covering. That seems to fit his skill set. That's one. And Sage Ryan is going to back up and play some safety and use his speed. I wouldn't suggest that Sage Ryan is LSU's best man-to-man cover guy, and because of injuries and poor performance over the last 2 seasons, he's had to do a lot of covering. He played a lot of cornerback. Well, he wasn't recruited to be a cornerback, but somebody's got to play it, and they're running out of guys. So he had to do it. Maybe these 2 guys moving back to a more comfortable spot that accentuates their skills creates a better version of themselves. I think there are plenty of you listening right now, plenty of you watching YouTube right now, that would say, all I see with Major Burns and Sage Ryan is the back of their uniform and their name because they're always chasing the play. And some of that's true. They're not awesome man-to-man cover guys, and Major Burns is not fantastic in space. But if you move them around to do something different, it stands to reason you could get different results. I'm hopeful in that. Now, Jordan Gilbert is interesting. We don't know Jordan Gilbert as well. He was able to wrangle for a starting spot at Texas A&M his second year in the program. He came back and was the starter again the following year. He played 2 games last year. Then he got hurt, so he missed the rest of the season. It feels like the Texas A&M vibe on him is he's pretty good. Nobody suggests, thank God that guy's out of here. And nobody said, oh my God, how are we going to possibly replace him? You're somewhere in the middle of that. And quite frankly, if you're somewhere in the middle of that, which is basically, that's pretty solid. That's better than last year. And if you've got him back there and Sage Ryan back there who's doing a little bit more things that are conducive to his skill set, and you move Major Burns up, I mentioned you've got 47 starts between those 3, but you've also got them doing something they're a little bit more comfortable doing. And if they can start that way, and then all of a sudden, you may see Kylan Jackson and especially Deshaun Spears grow up, and maybe by early October, they've got enough reps under their belt to play a little bit more. I've now got, by the time you get to Halloween, 5 guys that I'm looking at to help. And if you can't get 2 guys to help out of 5 from this group of perennial 4-stars with a ton of experience, like, I don't know what to tell you. I would like the talent level to look like, the days of Brandon Taylor and Eric Reed and Craig Lawston into Jamal Adams. Like, that is better than what I'm looking at here. But this can work. But all these guys have got to be better than they were last year. Got to be. But you've got depth, you've got talent, and you've got experience. Those are 3 things that should equate to a quality position group. And as the last line of defense in a defense that has given up way too many big plays, this level of play has got to improve. I feel good about the linebackers. I'm feeling pretty good about the safeties. Corner, I'm nervous. Defensive tackle, I'm terrified. Edge rusher, I'm interested. But safety's got to be better. And if you can just eliminate some of the monster chunk plays that LSU gave up last year, you give yourself a chance. Let yourself get back to a huddle lineup and fight again. But if you keep giving up big plays, after blown assignment, after missed tackle, you just don't have a chance. I'm not asking these guys to be Grant Delpit and Jamal Adams and LaRon Landry reincarnate. I'm asking him to be in the right spot, make some tackles, and quit giving up huge plays. Do the things that we're told cater to your skill set. Last year was a disaster. This feels better. Major's moving. Sage is moving. You bring in a talented player in Jordan Gilbert, and that young talent needs to grow up. It's got to. I'm grasping at straws here with this defense because I think there are probably two factions of the LSU fan base when we talk about this defense. There's probably one that says they can't be any worse. They've got much better position coaches, a much better coordinator. They're going to get better. They've got talent. They're going to be a top 50, top 40 defense. And there's probably a faction that goes, a lot of these guys were on the team last year and they stunk. And this is not looking great to me. This is at least a 2-year fix. And I don't know exactly where I am on that spectrum, but I feel like at safety, I'm leaning towards it's got to be better. Like, it's going to be better. If I'm proven wrong, I'll stand here and eat that crow. But I feel like they've got a chance to be a pretty good group. You're looking at the different levels of the defense. This one looks serviceable to me. We'll see. I'm curious to get out there tomorrow to camp. I'm assuming you'll see Sage Ryan and Jordan Gilbert as the starting safeties with Major Byrne playing down, and then you'll see the rest of the guys kind of fill in after that. I would imagine you'll see probably Kylan Jackson and Deshaun Spears in that group, and then Jordan Allen maybe right behind them. Matthew Langlois is a guy that has been on the team for a couple of years. He retired due to some medical concerns. So that's what I expect to see when I go out there tomorrow, but we'll certainly kind of let you know what we find out with the safety rotation, as it feels like that group should be better this year. So we'll keep talking about LSU position groups tomorrow, 9:45 a.m. is when LSU cranks things up. Don't run right to your phone, right to your computer, and start firing up Twitter at 9:45 a.m. You're not going to get anything. For those that are new to this, remember, Brian Kelly does not allow any reporting on any of practice until practice is concluded, whether that's to kind of keep people quiet, or whether it's honestly because he doesn't want reporting on injuries and people's families finding out their son is hurt from Twitter and not the LSU staff. I don't really care, but that's the reality of the situation. Is that's the rule. No reporting from camp until the practice is ended. So you'll probably get some information kind of flooding your timeline a little after 11 o'clock. But we'll be out there for the whole practice, 9:45 through 11 o'clock. And then I'll come in and break things down here in the first couple segments of the show tomorrow.
Why do they do that?
He said, doesn't want someone to get hurt, then 20 people to tweet, this guy's hurt. They don't have any specifics. They don't know, but the parent gets on Twitter, sees their son is hurt, doesn't know what the severity of. They don't want that to happen. They want, if there's an injury, for them to be able to tell the family of the athlete.
What if they could just say, you can report on everything except for injuries?
It's easier to say, stop talking.
That's true.
Let's just cut it all off. And that's what they're going to do. So we'll be out there tomorrow. Very much looking forward to it. What event would I have T-Bob Hebert enter in the Olympics? We're going to do that as part of One If Wednesday coming up next.
You are now listening to The Hunt Palmer Show.
Every shot, every goal, ESPN Bet has fans covered for the biggest moments of the summer. The exclusive sportsbook of ESPN is the only place to find special offers and promotions from your favorite ESPN shows and personalities throughout the summer months. New users can get a bet reset up to $1,000 in bonus bets if your first bet doesn't win. So download ESPN Bet today. What a play. Must be 21 or older. Gambling problem? Call 800-522-4700 in partnership with LeBears Lake Charles. Terms and conditions apply. See app for details.
In times of need, get a full list of phone numbers, websites, and other important emergency information on the Demco Stormwatch page at 1045ESPN.com.
There it is, the extra mile, on the border of expected and extraordinary, for those willing to go further, like vans customized for work or play, with safety and tech to keep you connected. Supported by a 5-star sales, service, and finance team. And backed by the 1-star you know. So go the extra mile. It's never crowded because so few have what it takes to go there. Mercedes-Benz Vans.
Farming is a way of life for us. It's not something we get up in the morning and dread going do. It's just something we go to bed at night looking forward to getting up to go do. John Deere equipment is what we, as farmers, strive to have. It's in your blood, it's in your veins. It's just a part of who you are. Green is what we want to be in. The other tractors were acquired to patch it up to get to where you want to be. Where we want to be is in John Deere. Flip the switch and learn more about what it means to be powered by sunshine at sunequip.com.
Bayou Ford has $10,000 off F-150, $10,000 off the new 2024 Ford F-150, and all new Bayou Ford vehicles come with a 7-year, 100,000-mile warranty. The crew at Bayou Ford is going to do right by you.
Gulf Coast Office Products is a nationally recognized Savin office equipment dealer based right here in Louisiana. Over 100 employees strong, Gulf Coast has the boots on the ground to support all vertical markets, from education, engineering, legal, and finance. With the latest in office technology, from desktop to production segment units, Gulf Coast and Savin have the perfect fit for you. Call 225-756-2644. That's 756-2644 for Gulf Coast Office Products.
Érase una vez un Infinity, diseñado para despertar tu imaginación y desafiarte a soñar, con 3 lujosas filas.
Moscona inviting you to join us for Wednesday's Hump Day AFR, presented by Pluckers. The Tigers report for camp, and we'll get you an update on Saints camp out in Irvine. Join us 3 to 6, 104.5 ESPN Baton Rouge.
This is the Hunt Palmer Show on 104.5 ESPN Baton Rouge.
Beck, I just saw an interesting tweet. Roger Sherman, I don't even know who he writes for, but I follow him on...
He's with the Ringer.
Is he? Okay, I follow him on Twitter. Said, handball really makes it clear how trash our feet are. It's literally the same sport as soccer, but with the hands, they score 60 goals per game instead of 2.
I mean, he's not really totally wrong, but at the same time, the court is obviously way smaller in handball, and you also don't have to dribble the ball in handball, I think. Or maybe you
do have to.
Maybe if you dribble like once every like 3 or 4 steps or something like that. It's a lot more fast-paced than soccer is. I mean, if you played soccer on a court or a field the same size as a handball, there'd be a lot more goals.
I would agree with that as well, but I think it's a funny tweet.
It is funny, though.
Let's play What If Wednesday.
Space, reality. It's more than a linear path. Where a single choice can branch out into infinite realities. Follow me and ponder the question. What if?
Alrighty, first one here. What if the Saints did mini camp in different parts of the state, like Lafayette, Lake Charles, Baton Rouge? I mean, you gotta throw Shreveport in there, of course.
Gotta throw Shreveport in there. I think that would be cool for fans who enjoy watching practices. It would never, ever, 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 ever happen because it's a logistical nightmare.
Yep.
And football coaches are an interesting breed. They prioritize time, unlike really anyone I've ever been around. They never think there's enough hours in the day, and any hours that you're driving 2 hours on the interstate or trying to figure out where you're going to sleep, all that kind of stuff is just completely wasted time. They need film, they need meetings, they need practice, they need weightlifting. Like, they need the whole thing. And they're never going to turn training camp into a traveling circus. They probably don't even like the fact that they've got to go all the way out to Irvine, even though you do kind of compact everything into a little bitty bubble and you take care of things right there. Yeah, football coaches would never be down for that.
All right, next one here, as you teased in the previous segment. What if you could enter T-Bob into any Olympic event?
My immediate reaction, based on the humor factor and how entertaining this could actually be, is pole vaulting. I always want to see average Joes try to pole vault because I just can't think of anything that you would look more foolish doing athletically than trying to propel yourself 20 feet in the air with a huge stick and you have no idea what you're doing. I think that would be rather humorous. I think there would be some humor in trying to do like the how badly he would lose in like the 800-meter freestyle, like the one that goes on forever, that Ledecky wins by a bajillion.
Yep.
Like how badly the field would lap you, or like the 400 meters and
hurdle.
Like a
how
sprint.
about hurdles?
Hurdling would be funny. Yes, I think I settled there on pole vaulting. I was thinking if I could do like the entire ESPN staff. I'd like to put Hester on the Olympic soccer team so that we could vent all of our soccer frustrations to him as a member who failed on the soccer team instead of us just yelling at the team.
What about for T-Bob? What about like the equestrian where you put him on a horse and he's got to jump over all the different...
I think I'm going to put Hanny on the horse. I want Hanny riding equestrian.
So now,
over the jumps.
Maybe we should just go through everybody.
I want Jimmy to be in one of the subjective events like the diving or the gymnastics. Yep. I want him to go. There would be a massive conspiracy on whether or not he had paid off the judges because he had action to throw the event.
Yep.
I think there's some intrigue in that as well. What do we need Matt doing in the Olympics?
I don't know.
I might get Matt into the wrestling ring. See how that goes.
Yeah.
Matt's a physical guy who played some offensive line, and I think it would go pretty poorly for him against the Olympic wrestlers. And I don't really want to do any of that stuff because I wouldn't.
Well, we're gonna have you in the 10-meter pistol, of course.
Oh, of course, the 10-meter air rifle.
Air rifle.
Or I can play golf. I can shoot 93 out there.
I mean, there's gonna be. I was just looking at it on the field for the tournament. There's 60 guys competing, and some of the guys at the bottom of the list are in the 300s in the world ranking.
Okay.
So there might be some high scores out there.
There could be. I mean, I don't know that they're going to set this up like a U.S. Open.
Probably
it's
not.
probably just going to be a normal like standard setup with reasonable rough and pin placements and green speeds. I don't expect anybody to go out there and shoot 88, but I guess it's possible.
All right, next one here. What if you could put together a 4-man scramble team of people you know to compete individually in the Olympics?
Okay, people I know, we're going to compete individually. We're just going to scramble 4 balls. I think I could put together a team that wins. Now the question is how well do I have to know? Me and John Peterson are like Twitter buddies.
Yeah.
Can I keep him?
Yeah, I mean Sam Burns is from Shreveport, so
I don't know Sam.
You don't know him.
I've met Sam. I don't know Sam, but I know 3 scratch golfers that I could pull off, and I think 3 scratch golfers and me from those tees in that event. I think we could shoot some 65.
I don't know.
63s.
Yeah, I mean possibly. I don't think it's a guarantee that you would do that well, but you definitely have a good chance.
Winning, because if you go out and play in a charity scramble, you have to shoot like 1,700 to win. I think we only have to shoot some 64s.
Yeah.
Like we got to shoot 8 under.
Yeah, probably.
And that's doable. I think we would win the gold.
All right, fair enough. Moving on. What if you started at pitcher and designated hitter tonight for the White Sox?
Couldn't go any worse, could it? Have you checked out the White Sox the last couple of weeks?
Yeah, they're trading a lot of players.
Well, they're losing a lot. They have lost 17 games in a row. That is nearly impossible to do, to lose 17 games in a row.
It's hard to do that.
So if I was their starting pitcher and they put me at DH tonight, I think they would also lose, but that's the same thing they've been doing for 2 weeks, so I don't think anybody would care. They might sell more tickets if I was actually out there throwing 61-mile-an-hour fastballs.
Maybe. Or they could put Teeny out there. That'd be pretty.
Teeny
that would be fun to
covers
watch.
a lot of ground. I don't know if she can catch all that well, especially baseball.
I mean, she could definitely catch. I mean, cat's reflexes. I mean, they can catch.
I'll tell you this: I was really impressed with Teeny early on. Didn't know much about cats. This is completely off subject, but that's what the segment is. There was a wasp flying around the kitchen.
She caught it.
She straight up caught that thing. I was like, oh. That is sick.
Cats. When they say cat-like reflexes, it's a serious thing. Their reflexes are kind of unbelievable when you watch like video.
And it's a little
compilations of it.
intimidating when you like hold them close to your face, because if they want to and they're feeling it, they can swipe you real quick,
really fast.
and there's nothing you can do about it.
No.
And like you never quite know what the temperament is. So yeah, that's yeah. I would be fine for the White Sox. They just lose again, which is par for the course.
All right, next one here. What if Tyrann Mathieu is not suspended for the Auburn game in 2011? Heisman, question mark.
I don't think the Auburn game had anything to do with it. So I would suggest that didn't matter. I've said this, and I still believe this. So RG3 won it that year.
Yeah.
But LSU was the toast of college football when they announced the Heisman Trophy. They had gone undefeated. They had won the SEC championship. They had beaten Oregon. They had beaten West Virginia. They had won at Alabama. And Tyrann was the face of that team. He had the huge kick return against Arkansas, the punt return. And then he had the punt return against Georgia to kickstart things when LSU had gone 3 and out literally every possession. However, the next punt return in the second half, where he juked like 20 guys and got down to like the 15, if he scores on that play, I think he's got a chance.
Got a chance.
That would have been 3 touchdowns in the last 2 games against top 10 teams. And RG3's Baylor team sucked, relatively speaking,
Not
when we're
good.
talking Heisman terms. So I don't think he would have won it, but I think he would have had a chance with 2 kick return touchdowns in the SEC championship game, plus 1 against Arkansas, plus a touchdown against Oregon, plus a touchdown against Kentucky. Like, that's a lot of work for a defensive guy on the best team in the country. If he had done all that for Utah, I don't think it would have mattered.
Probably
But
not.
for the 13-0 team, I think he'd have had a chance.
All right, last one here. This one's interesting. What if Vince Carter, who I think is in his either late 30s or early 40s.
Oh, he's nowhere near his late 30s. He was in the NBA at 43 4 years ago. He's 47.
Okay, what if he started for LSU basketball?
This came up in my group text today. There was one of those stupid, you have $15 allotment to build your team, and Vince Carter was on one of the things, and somebody said, well, could he start for LSU this year? And I texted back when I saw he was 47. He played in the NBA in 2020 at 43. And I said, my inclination is no. But as I think about it more, I think he could. I think he's probably still a pretty good shooter. He shot a good percentage in 2019 from three-point range in the NBA. He's got obviously incredible basketball IQ. He is still 6'6", 6'7". Like, he can't move like he once did, and he can't block shots and dunk like that. But I think he could go out there, make some shots, know where to be. I think he could start for LSU. Maybe, and the point of this discussion is like, maybe I'm completely off. Maybe he'd be the best player on the team. Maybe he couldn't play anymore. He's just 47 years old. He can't do it. I don't know. So my thought was initially, no, he couldn't help. And then I kind of redirected and went, you know what? I think he could do it.
I mean, to me, it's like, okay, he played in the NBA. What percentage of guys in college play in the NBA? Not
Almost
many.
none.
Very little. And not only did he play in the NBA, he was also one of the better players of the last 15 years. So, to me, I think he would not be able to play probably a whole 40 minutes. He probably would struggle.
I need you to play 31.
He could probably play 20 or 25, maybe 30 minutes, and I think he would probably be one of the best players on the court.
It's possible, 47. I mean, he played in the NBA at 43. So yeah. I think he's, as I start to talk about it more, I start to think, he would be a good player.
Yeah.
All right, that's it for What If Wednesday. So we got a lot to do in hour number 2. We're going to do Meet the Freshman. Got some sound from Dennis Allen that we'll get to as well. LSU flipped a commitment earlier today that we'll get to, and they've got some RPM picks that Shea Dixon has plugged in over there at on 3 that we'll want to talk about as well. When we come back, I'll tell you what I'll be looking at when LSU breaks camp tomorrow morning. This is not for the entirety of camp. This is for the hour and a half that I'm out there. This is what I'll be looking for. That's coming up next.
You are now listening to The Hunt Palmer Show.
If Vince Carter plays for LSU, he's going to need some physical therapy. That's just the nature of the beast when you're 47 years old and trying to play college basketball. That's a hypothetical. Maybe you're not in a hypothetical situation. You are in pain. You are trying to get back to being your active self. There's only one place you need to go in Baton Rouge. That is Evolve Physical Therapy. Check them out online, evolvept.com. You can see some of the great services that they offer. You can actually kind of tour the facility because there's a great pictures on the website. But the most important thing is that Robbie Bolton and his team are there. And Robbie's been a physical therapist almost 20 years. He has worked with professional athletes, but you don't have to be a professional athlete to work with Robbie. You can be a youth athlete, 9, 10 years old. You could be in your 60s or 70s trying to get back to being your active self, whether that's running, working out, pickleball, tennis, golf, whatever the case may be. Robbie Bolton can help you out with that. And it's going to be a hands-on process with Robbie Bolton. He will be there with you for the entirety of the appointment. He will be asking you questions, helping you with that soft tissue manipulation, dry needling, cupping, scraping, isokinetic testing. All of that can be done, and he'll be right there at your side because his goal is to get you back to feeling as good as you can feel so you can be your active self once again. It's Evolve Physical Therapy in Sports. They're on Starring near Highland Road. Again, that's on Starring near Highland Road. It's Evolve Physical Therapy in Sports at evolvept.com.
Get the 104.5 ESPN Baton Rouge app powered by Bayou Ford and tap the microphone icon to send us your thoughts in an audio message. Your message could be played on air during Off the Bench with Esther and T-Bob, The Hunt Palmer Show, and after further review with Matt Moscone.
The Windsor Senior Living Community in Mandeville, Louisiana is a beautiful, vibrant apartment community geared towards seniors. They are nestled right in the heart of Mandeville, where seniors live a more carefree lifestyle in spacious apartments with the peace of mind that comes from having a little extra help. Call the Windsor at 985-624-8040 to schedule a lunch and tour. Come see how the Windsor can be your passport to peace of mind.
I've been doing business with Luba for 25 years. They're dependable, trustworthy. It's just the attention to detail with our clients.
Our folks have years and years of experience. They're highly trained professionals, but many companies have that asset. What I'd like to think makes Luba a bit different is that we use those talents in a way that truly is dedicated to serving the needs of the folks who depend on us.
Breck teamed up to reimagine your parks, and you imagined big. With your help, we went to work, creating 12 beautiful community parks across the parish. A family-sized water park, miles and miles of trails, and parks just for your dogs. There are more places to splash, to explore, to run wild, and even soar. You imagined, we delivered. Gold. Breck, your #1 park system in the nation.
When it comes to ending cancer, we push forward, always working together for you. That's why our cancer experts at Ochsner have clinically integrated with MD Anderson Cancer Center. This means advanced cancer care, including access to life-saving clinical trials and integrating care to treat the whole you. Introducing Ochsner MD Anderson Cancer Center. Long live you.
Electricity is all around us, and our families depend on it. Every day is sparked by the power of a cold drink or a warm meal, a movie night, and a comforting light at the end of a dark hallway. From sunrise to sunset, playtime to bedtime, our team is ready to take care of your electrical needs. Even in the case of an after-hours emergency, the light in your life shines brighter with Mr. Electric.
Farming is a way of life for us. It's not something we get up in the morning and dread going do. It's just something we go to bed at night looking forward to getting up to go do.
The Bench with Jacob Hester and T-Bob Hebert. Mornings from 7 to 10 on 104.5 ESPN Baton Rouge. You're listening to The Hunt Palmer Show on 104.5 ESPN Baton Rouge.
I'm excited to get out to fall camp tomorrow. I don't know that I'll be super excited next week in the middle of the week, every single day going out there and seeing a lot of the same stuff. But tomorrow, to see it for the first time. I am excited. And we'll be out there at 9:45 tomorrow morning. And I wanted to take this time, it's a short 6-minute segment here, talk about what I'm specifically looking at tomorrow when I walk out there. Your eyes are usually naturally drawn to the quarterbacks because they have a football. Like that's generally the more exciting thing to watch because sleds and cones are not that exciting. But I'm not necessarily too amped up to go see that. Garrett Nussmeier's your starter. He'll look fine tomorrow. I think that you've got very little competition, in my opinion, for the backup quarterback spot. I'll talk about that a little bit later on. But I think A.J. Swan came here to be the backup, and Ricky Collins and Colin Hurley are probably behind him. So I'm not necessarily going straight there. I have a couple of things that I'm interested in on the defensive side of the ball that I will take a peek at for an hour and a half tomorrow. One is I don't really know who the first two corners are. I don't know how healthy Zy Alexander is. He's coming off of a knee injury. They talk so much about P.J. Woodland. I don't know if that means he's in the first group or not. I think Ashton Stamps has kind of worked his way toward that at this point, but we'll see. I'm just not sure who the first two corners are, and maybe I won't figure that out tomorrow, but sometimes they do get practice started with the defense putting an 11-man shell out there and then snapping it and running to the football, and they do that with 3 groups, and usually you can tell the first 11 guys out there kind of the ones. Maybe they won't do that tomorrow. Maybe everybody will go to individuals when we're out there, and we won't necessarily see that kind of thing. I'm not certain, but that's something that you do to get the blood flowing, and I'm just curious who the first two corners would be out there. And when I do that, I will take a look at what Zy Alexander looks like. Brian Kelly spoke to the media at SEC Media Days and said that Zy Alexander should be a full go for camp. That's a little surprising to me, but definitely possible. You get that ACL carved on and you come back, and a lot of guys are just as good as they were before they went out. So that's the hope with him. But like last year, I went out to camp, and it took a minute and a half to watch Armani Goodwin run and go, he's not close. He had a big old brace on his knee, and he was limping through every drill, and like it was just no chance he was even close. And while I think a lot of people read practice reports and listen to what we have to say based on kind of projectability for what the team's going to like the thing we can tell the most quickly is if you're not able to go through the drills. Like that's a dead giveaway. It doesn't take a football savant to go out there and go, that guy's not healthy. And Armani Goodwin was not healthy last year. I want to see what Zy Alexander looks like and whether or not he's kind of running with him. My guess is Zy Alexander, Ashton Stamps are 1 and 2 running through the drills. But I'm curious, and I want to see and would be open to any combination of the cornerbacks because I just don't really know. The second thing is who's out there first and second with the defensive tackles. We all kind of think that Jacobian Guillory is going to be one of the starters. That's pretty well etched in stone. Who's next? Is it Jalen Lee? Is it Sean Washington? Is it Gio Paez? Is it JVR Suggs? Is Don McKinley ready to go? I would assume not. Like, I'm just curious who's next to Guillory when they go through. Whether it's the first two guys popping sleds or the first two guys when they do that drill I was just talking about where all the defense lines up and then runs to the sideline. I just kind of like to know who's first up. And trust me, I understand, and so do you, that when you go out there the first day, the first guy running through the drills doesn't mean he's going to start the game against USC. I still remember vividly being a little bit surprised going in 2011 to Dallas and Arlington to see LSU play Oregon. And knowing what we know now, it was obvious, but we didn't know who the second defensive tackle was. I thought Josh Downs might be it. Didn't think Frank Johnson was ready. And it turned out it was Benny Logan. And he became a great player and a star, and he was a great player on that team. And it sounds obvious now, but that was not something we forecasted on August 1st. And it turned into being the case in the opener. So nothing's set in stone tomorrow. I'm just curious when I go out there, what does Alexander look like? Who are the first two corners running through? And who's next to Tank Guillory running through the defensive line drills? That's really it. I'll check out Garrett Nussmeier. I'll look at the wide receiver rotation. We'll see how Josh Williams looks and coming back from his injury. And all that stuff is stuff that we'll talk about on here for sure. But that's my first instinct when I go out there for practice tomorrow. I talked about this earlier, and I'll probably mention it again in the second hour before we wrap up today. But just to refresh your memory, as those who are starving for football content and so excited that LSU starts tomorrow, we'll certainly be talking about it. I'll be at practice, Matt will be at practice, and that'll be covered on our end. But don't look for information at 9:45. You're not going to get any. You only get information when practice ends. So Brian Kelly will talk with the media tomorrow. I won't be able to stay for that because I'll be here, but there'll be player interviews to follow as well. And so there'll be information coming out daily from LSU camp over the next 2 weeks. Don't look at 9:45, though. That's when we're allowed in. We can't say anything until probably 11:15 or 11:30. So if you're looking for the flood of information, after 11 o'clock is where you'll be able to find it. And Han, you'll certainly be scouring the Twitterverse to give you some takes as he's on at Live at Lunch. And I'll be seated here at 1 o'clock and ready to rock with information that I glean from the Ponderosa tomorrow. So I'm fired up to get out there. When we come back after SportsCenter, we will talk about a pair of freshmen that I will see tomorrow that I think could be impact guys on this team. That'll kick off hour number 2. If you missed any of the first hour, you can always catch it on demand. We got Saints to talk about after SportsCenter as well. So don't go anywhere. Hope your work week is cruising right along. It's a Wednesday edition of the Hunt Palmer Show.
Bayou Chrysler Dodge Jeep Ram is taking $20,000 off new 23 Ram 1500 trucks. We're open for business in our beautiful new showroom and taking $20,000 off the powerful Ram truck. All new Bayou vehicles come with a 7-year, 100,000-mile warranty. The crew at Bayou Automotive is going to do right by you.
I've been doing business with Luba for 25 years. They're dependable, trustworthy. It's just the attention to detail with our clients.
Our folks have years and years of experience. They're highly trained professionals, but many companies have that asset. What I'd like to think makes Luba a bit different is that we use those talents in a way that truly is dedicated to serving the needs of the folks who depend on us.
Breck teamed up to reimagine your parks, and you imagined big. With your help, we went to work, creating 12 beautiful community parks across the parish. A family-sized water park, miles and miles of trails, and parks just for your dogs. There are more places to splash, to explore, to run wild, and even soar. You imagined, we delivered. Gold. Breck, your #1 park system in the nation.
There it is, the extra mile, on the border of expected and extraordinary for those willing to go further, like vans customized for work or play, with safety and tech to keep you connected, supported by a 5-star sales, service, and finance team, and backed by the 1-star you know. So go the extra mile. It's never crowded, because so few have what it takes to go there. Mercedes-Benz Vans.
Hey, it's Matt Moscona. For years, you've heard me tell you about Insurance Network of Louisiana, helping you find better coverage for less money. But it's not just for your home and auto. They also offer commercial property. So, retail stores, professional offices like doctors, dentists, attorneys, clothing boutiques. Insurance Network of Louisiana can find you better coverage for less money. They service the entire state of Louisiana, and they're local. So call today at 293-0450 or lainsurance.net.
Jerry and Benny Payne began Central Plumbing Company out of their driveway in Tanglewood subdivision. 50 years later and 4 generations down the road, we continue to serve Baton Rouge and the surrounding areas for all of their plumbing needs. Residential, commercial, industrial, or hospitality, Central Plumbing is here 24/7, 365.
We want to thank our customers, family, and friends for 50 years of success.
And looking forward to 50 more.
Gulf Coast Office Products is a nationally recognized Savin office equipment dealer based right here in Louisiana. Over 100 employees strong, Gulf Coast has the boots on the ground to support all vertical markets, from education, engineering, legal, and finance. With the latest in office technology, from desktop to production segment units, Gulf Coast and Savin have the perfect fit for you. Call 225-756-2644. That's 756-2644 for Gulf Coast Office Products.
Érase una vez Un Infinity, diseñado para despertar tu imaginación y desafiarte a soñar. Con 3 lujosas filas de asientos. El totalmente nuevo Infinity QX80 de 3 filas.
Is Sports Center.
I'm Christine Lisi. The U.S. men's Olympic basketball team set to tip off shortly against South Sudan at the Paris Olympics. Jason Tatum, who did not play against Serbia, is starting today. Baseball's top prospect, Orioles infielder Jackson Holliday, recalled for the series finale against the Blue Jays, has his first career home run, a grand slam. Baltimore leads Toronto 9-4, bottom 7. 6 RBI for DJ LeMahieu. Yankees a 6-4 lead on the Phillies, top 8. Twins up 7-2 on the Mets, bottom 6. New York's Luis Severino gave up 6 runs in 3 innings. The day after, Jets coach Robert Saleh said it was unlikely quarterback Aaron Rodgers, coming back from a torn Achilles, plays in the preseason. Rodgers addressed that topic.
That's Robert's decision. I've never told him I don't want to play in the preseason. There's a lot of thoughts about whether there's any particular gain from it. We used to play all the time.
Aaron Rodgers, Jurgen Klopp ruled himself out of the running for the coaching vacancies of the U.S. and England's men's teams.
Hey, it's Michelle Smallman, and coming up Thursday, Aaron Rodgers, Joe Burrow, and Kirk Cousins. I'll tell you which quarterback coming off an injury I have the most confidence in. It's on Sportsmanlike, 6 a.m. Eastern, right here on ESPN Radio, ESPN2, and ESPNU.
Ladies and gentlemen, may I direct your attention to something quite extraordinary?
Now, the Hunt Palmer Show. The Hunt Palmer Show on 104.5 ESPN Baton Rouge. Live from the Mercedes-Benz of Baton Rouge studios. This is Hunt Palmer.
Hour number 2, Wednesday edition of the Hunt Palmer Show. Half the work week in the rearview mirror. Appreciate you hanging out with us on 104.5 ESPN Baton Rouge. Heard something in the Sports Center there at the top of the hour. I don't claim to be up to all the speed on the Team USA's basketball squad, but Jason Tatum didn't play any minutes in the last game, and now he's starting this game. What are we doing?
So he did not play in the first game against Serbia.
He became a meme.
Yeah, and Steve Kerr said he's like, I don't know why I'm stupid. I don't know why I didn't play him in this game. And I think it seems like because of all this publicity, he's going to start him just to get around it, maybe.
I mean, it'd be one thing, like, I could get it if, like, Carlos Boozer didn't play a lot on the Redeem team. Like, he was kind of like the last guy there.
Yeah.
And Tayshaun Prince, whatever,
right.
was on that team, too. But, like, Jason Tatum's like a star in the league.
Yeah, he's probably
won the finals.
Yeah, probably a top 5 player in the league. So even if
you forgot about him down there?
Yeah, right. Like, even if he doesn't start in that game, you expect him to play significant minutes, and he did not play at all. So it's definitely a bit strange, but at the end of the day, the U.S. are most likely going to win, so it's not really going to matter too much. But
we beat South Sudan by, what, 1 point?
1 point, yes.
So how many did we beat by today? 50?
Yeah, probably. Yeah, although they did win their first game, South Sudan did. They beat Puerto Rico, who, of course, has Jose Alvarado on their team, and Tremont Waters, who both played well. But unfortunately, Jose Alvarado got hurt in that game, and then South Sudan won. But the U.S. will probably win handedly in this one.
I would think so. So they'll tip things off here very, very briefly from out in France. All right, it's time to meet the freshmen.
Meet the freshmen. Freshmen, meet the freshmen. They're the newest Tigers on the team.
Uh-oh. Cranky Hunt's going to come out here.
Why is that?
Because Cassie's put together a great graphic here that's on the screen if you're watching on YouTube, and it's got all the freshmen that we're going to talk about, and it's perfectly pertinent. And it's not her fault that every time these kids come on their official visit and do the photo shoot, they go white helmets, white jersey, white pants.
No.
Every single time. Nobody wants to put on the classic threads.
Why do you think they do that, Hunt?
Because they think it looks cooler, and they're wrong.
Okay.
I'm right.
Maybe
the guy who wears a polo shirt
Hunt.
and khakis every day, like Jake from State Farm, knows fashion and knows that these aren't as good as the normal uniforms.
You literally just said why you don't know fashion by what you wear.
That was the point.
Okay.
Put on the classics. All right, we're talking about the freshmen. Two more today as we started this yesterday. And two guys that I think could factor in this year, if not in the opener against USC, I think as time goes on because they are very, very talented young men. The first is Trey'Dez Green. Trey'Dez Green is 6'6". He weighs 230 pounds. He was a great high school basketball player. He is a matchup nightmare for defenses. Linebackers are not going to be athletic or tall enough. Corners aren't going to be big enough. Safeties aren't going to, generally speaking, jump. It's just not there's not a lot of defenders that can go with him athletically. He was the number 32 player nationally by On3, the number 2 tight end in the country, number 2 player in the state of Louisiana. He's a 5-star by On3, 4-star by the other services. It's hard not to see Trey'Dez Green being a super productive college football player. It's hard. Now, here's the deal. We know that Brian Kelly prioritizes tight ends. We know that LSU has a potential first-team all-league tight end in Mason Taylor. Brock Bowers is gone. Mason Taylor is as accomplished a tight end as there is in the SEC. He's going to get most of the snaps. You brought in Mac Markway and Kamorian Pimpton last year. Markway, big, physical, probably a better blocker at this point than Trey'Dez Green is. And Pimpton is kind of out of the same cloth. He's another 6'6", long arm, good athlete, tough matchup. I don't know how big a difference there is athletically between Trey'Dez Green and Kamorian Pimpton. I would suggest there is some. The Trey'Dez Green is a better athlete than Pimpton. But Pimpton's got really long arms, and we saw him last year in camp make some really impressive plays in one-on-one drills going up and high-pointing footballs. Either way, there's an embarrassment of riches at tight end where when Brian Kelly got here 3 years ago, there were basically no tight ends. Cole Taylor was gone. Mason Taylor was coming in. He was a 3-star freshman. All of a sudden, he's starting. They're trying to move Jack Mashburn down there. It was a mess. And now it's really, really good. I don't know how good Trey'Dez Green is. It would not shock me if Trey'Dez Green played red zone snaps against USC. It would not shock me. It would not shock me if he didn't see a snap in September. That's how big a dearth I see in potential here with Trey'Dez Green because of his talent and the depth that LSU's got at that position. If you wanted to tell me that Mason Taylor's taking all those snaps and Mac Markway's coming in as an extra blocker, I got you. If you want to tell me Trey'Dez Green has to play because nobody can cover him at that position, I'd hear that too. I'm very curious to see how this works out. I think he's got an amazing future at LSU. I just don't know how quickly that ramps up. I'm fascinated to see what he looks like in the pads tomorrow. The second freshman that we're going to talk about today and meet the freshman is Gabriel Relaford. Gabriel Relaford from Shreveport, Evangel product. Shout out Jacob Hester. Shout out Hunt Palmer, Shreveport folks. Gabriel Relaford, 6'2", 260 pounds, edge player, former Texas A&M commit. They lose Coach Robinson, Elijah Robinson. He moves on and goes to Syracuse. He reopens his recruitment. He ends up at LSU. He was the number 202 player nationally, number 18 defensive lineman, number 7 player in the state of Louisiana. But his tape is really good. Talk to Shea Dixon from On3 about Gabriel Relaford. He absolutely gushes over Gabriel Relaford and thinks that this is one of the biggest signees that LSU got in this class. He was an early enrollee, which I think is really good. He showed up here in December and enrolled in school in January and has been in the weight program and through the summer conditioning program. And I keep saying this, but young players are further along today than they were 15, 20 years ago. A lot of them come in pretty ready to contribute. And again, I think Gabe Relaford has some guys that are in front of him. He can wait on Braden Swinson and Savion Jones and Deshaun Womack, and those are the proven guys. But inevitably there are injuries, and on the defensive front, you need depth and you need to rotate some guys in. And I'm not here to tell you that on the edge and pass rushing situations that Gabe Relaford is not ready to help a little bit. Now, 75 snaps, holding up against offensive tackles and playing the run, he may have some work to do there. And that's where Swinson and Savion Jones at 295 pounds and Deshaun Womack come in. They're more ready than him for that, I would imagine. But this is a supremely talented young man at a position group that's looking for a spark. And I I would be surprised if he played a lot against USC. I would not be surprised if he played a lot against Oklahoma. That's the last game of the year. Like, I think there's a progression here where Gabe Relaford works his way towards the field. I'm being careful this year with freshmen and young players. And we'll talk about Caleb Jackson at some point during camp, and I'll give you my diatribe on, like, everyone's going to be clamoring for Caleb Jackson to get a ton of carries, and Josh Williams is going to get far more because that's just the way that things work. But I do think that these two guys, Trey'Dez Green and Gabe Relaford, have a chance to impact this team. Not first team All-SEC, maybe freshman team. Not, the starter from week one, but I think they can help. They appear to me to be guys that are destined for really, really good things in Baton Rouge. Two in-state guys, two guys at positions where there are older players who have a lot more proven than them, but I think can absolutely help. So that's your look at Trey'Dez Green and Gabe Relaford, your two freshmen for today. That is 4 down and plenty to go. We did Juwan Johnson and Jelani Watkins yesterday. A lot of speed, a lot of potential in the two guys today. Tomorrow, we'll talk about a couple of secondary players in Joel Rogers and P.J. Woodland. I'll get a chance to see them before we actually talk about them on tomorrow's show. We'll talk about two freshmen every day until the 15th of August when we have run through them all. That'll be Xavier Atkins and Dom McKinley the last day. So save maybe the best for last there. So that's Meet the Freshman here on this Wednesday. When we come back, let's hear a little sound from Dennis Allen. Met with the media yesterday. I do have some updates from Saints camp today as those have started to trickle out. Chris Olave did participate. There was some more news as well. We'll talk about all that from a Saints perspective coming up next.
You are now listening to The Hunt Palmer Show.
One Bath and Closets. OneBathAndClosets.com is the website. David Duvall and his team, 30 years redesigning and remodeling bathrooms and closets. Maybe you have put off a remodel because you're scared to pay for it. And that makes sense. Sometimes they can be rather cost intensive. But there are financing options with One Bath and Closets. There's a free consultation with One Bath and Closets. There's $1,000 off your project at One Bath and Closets if you tell them the Hunt Palmer Show sent you over there. Those should ease your mind a little bit in terms of the pricing with a brand new full-scale bathroom renovation or a closet renovation remodel. And it's so easy because you don't have to call 4 different contractors to handle 4 different issues with the bathroom or the closet. You call one. David Duvall and his team handle everything from soup to nuts. It starts with a free consultation and a questionnaire. It ends in the bathroom or closet of your dreams that's customized to your exact specifications. The custom aspect is fantastic. And plus, it's going to look great. All the work that David Duvall and his team do are aesthetically beautiful. Check it out online at onebathandclosets.com. You can see photographs of their fantastic work. Get in the bathroom of your dreams. Get the closet of your dreams. Get rid of the clutter, the dingy old bathroom. Let David Duvall and his team revitalize your home with One Bath and Closets. Check them out online. It's onebathandclosets.com.
Our listeners fire off their opinions on the jimsfirearms.net hotline at 499-1045. Keep listening for your next chance to shoot us your thoughts with the jimsfirearms.net hotline on 1045 ESPN Baton Rouge.
Érase una vez un Infinity, diseñado para despertar tu imaginación y desafiarte a soñar, con 3 lujosas filas de asientos. El totalmente nuevo Infinity QX80 de 3 filas.
Electricity is all around us, and our families depend on it. Every day is sparked by the power of a cold drink or a warm meal, a movie night, and a comforting light at the end of a dark hallway. From sunrise to sunset, playtime to bedtime, our team is ready to take care of your electrical needs, even in the case of an after-hours emergency. The light in your life shines brighter with Mr. Electric.
Farming is a way of life for us. It's not something we get up in the morning and dread going do. It's just something we go to bed at night looking forward to getting up to go do. John Deere equipment is what we as farmers strive to have. It's in your blood, it's in your veins. It's just a part of who you are. Green is what we want to be in. The other tractors were acquired to patch it up to get to where you want to be. Where we want to be is in John Deere. Flip the switch and learn more about what it means to be powered by sunshine at sunequip.com.
There it is, the extra mile, on the border of expected and extraordinary for those willing to go further, like vans customized for work or play, with safety and tech to keep you connected, supported by a 5-star sales, service, and finance team, and backed by the 1-star you know. So go the extra mile. It's never crowded because so few have what it takes to go there. Mercedes-Benz Vans.
When it comes to ending cancer, we push forward, always working together for you. That's why our cancer experts at Ochsner have clinically integrated with MD Anderson Cancer Center. This means advanced cancer care, including access to life-saving clinical trials and integrating care to treat the whole you. Introducing Ochsner MD Anderson Cancer Center. Long live you.
Gulf Coast Bank and Trust is giving our customers the power to bank anywhere, anytime during this challenging event. And we're right there with you. Our mobile banking app is
Join us for the Thursday edition of Live at Lunch from Snow Seafood and Steak on Airline Highway in Gonzales. Chris Rosvoglu from Saints Camp, Dwayne Colucci from Las Vegas, and LSU's in camp. We'll have a report fresh off the practice field. Live at Lunch from Snows on Thursday, 104.5 ESPN Baton Rouge.
You're listening to the Hunt Palmer Show on 104.5 ESPN Baton Rouge.
As Hanny just mentioned in that tease, LSU on the practice field tomorrow, and he will be taking a bunch of tweets and trying to cultivate them into a segment on the fly on Live at Lunch tomorrow, because all the information probably going to drop right in his lap when he's in his first hour. That's kind of what we've been doing here with Saints practice in our second hour when they wrap up, and then all the media just unloads all their information at once, and I just kind of comb through and kind of find the stories of the day and things to talk on here and there. We're going to hear some Dennis Allen sound here in a second, but I do want to talk about some of the news that has come out from the gaggle of media out in L.A. about today's workout. Chris Olave, who left yesterday's practice with a hip injury, said he fell on his hip. He practiced in full today. Appears there's nothing to that injury whatsoever. Unfortunately, Demario Davis did leave practice today. The report is that he had a left hamstring injury in the middle of a rep, and he sat down. It wasn't like he blew it out and was laying on the ground and got carted off. He left the field in his own power, but did have to leave practice. So Demario Davis, somebody that we'll have to keep an eye on here with the injury report. And then something that is kind of festered over the last couple of days. I think that's probably the wrong word because it's not a negative connotation, but something that's kind of bubbling up, and it happens every year. This is an evergreen in the fall, late summer. We hear it every year. Usually people buy into it, and then you're proven to be a fool for doing so. I'm not going to do that today. Peyton Turner whispers are coming back every year in camp. He had a strip sack today, apparently. Won some one-on-one reps. Looks good out there. It's early. I don't think anybody's falling for it. This is very much Lucy and Charlie Brown in the football. But it keeps coming up. And it's not like one person that's pumping this. It's everybody that's out there. It's like, yeah, Peyton Turner kind of looks pretty good. But we got the exact same thing last year, and we know that he really didn't play. So just reporting what's being reported. I see it on Twitter. I pass it along to you. It sounds like Peyton Turner is doing some things pretty well. Here's another thing that is consistent day after day with the reporting from Saints camp. Almost unanimous. Chase Young is balling. He has been a handful for the Saints offensive linemen in one-on-ones, in 11-on-11s, in terms of making plays on the quarterback, making plays in the backfield on reverses. He's just been a handful, and that is what the Saints brought him in to be. And if he continues that into the season, he's going to be a really rich dude come next offseason, and the Saints are going to be a much better team. when this signing was made, I roundly applauded it. It was like, this is fantastic. It's cheap. It's no risk. It's 1 year. It's high upside. This is great. And then 2 hours after that, the report came out, well, but he needs a neck procedure done. And I was like, well, I still kind of like it because I think that this is worth a try with Chase Young. And apparently he has just been a force day after day after day on the Saints practice field. Now, Dennis Allen talked about Chase Young yesterday. This is not today's sound. This is from yesterday, which is Tuesday, talking about his workout yesterday.
I think he got 3 plays, and the first one kind of bull rushed back in there and, got a little bit too close to the quarterback for me. But that was, that catches your eye when a guy's able to walk the offensive tackle back into the quarterback. I think that's something that he can do. And so I liked what I saw in those 3 plays. I think all 3 of them, by design, were pass rush plays. And I think we'll see, gradually a little bit more and a little bit more, out of Chase as we go into practice. This was all kind of part of the plan, to kind of work him back in. We got him a couple of pass rushes in a team environment, which I thought that was good for him, both physically and mentally, I think, to be back out there.
And for Young, he's not taking days off. Now, he will get one tomorrow because everybody's off for the Saints, but it's not like he's 1 day on, 1 day off, or 1 period on, take 3 off. He's been out there working with everybody else all the way through. And I was a little surprised that the day they put the pads on, he was out there popping pads, but he was. And Dennis Allen spoke yesterday about the actual injury.
He met with the doctors when we got here on the 22nd, and he was cleared by the doctor for full participation. So I think at that point, we probably accelerated this timeline just a little bit from where we probably initially thought it would be or potentially could be. So I like where he's at right now. We're going to continue to be smart with him, but I think each day you'll see him ramp up a little bit more and more every day.
And every time they ramp him up, he seems to pass with flying colors, which is fantastic news for New Orleans. I think this is a lot of credit to Chase Young for the work he did in rehabilitation, and it's paying off right now, as Dennis Allen spoke to yesterday.
I think it's a credit to, Dr. Watkins and the surgery that he did. I think it's a credit to our training staff and the work that they've done with him. I think it's a credit to him that, he did everything that our training staff asked him to do to a T. And then I think it's credit to the good Lord, credit to his mom and dad, because they're the one that gave him the healing genes, so there's probably a lot of credit to go around, it sounds like. So, but he worked extremely hard at it, and man, I'm excited about seeing what he can do.
Got those healing genes. Is that a shot at Derrick Rose's parents for not giving him the healing genes? I mean, what are we doing here? Yeah, that's. I mean, look, Chase Young, if healthy, and turning heads like this, paired with Carl Granderson, I can't sit here and pretend to tell you that I know every NFL team's 2 bookend pass rushers. I would be comfortable telling you that's got to be in the top 5 or 6, if healthy and what they can be, because Granderson, I think it's reasonable to expect him to come up with 8 to 10 sacks this year, just building on what he's done. And I would suggest that Chase Young could absolutely notch 8, 10, 12 sacks this year if given the opportunity and staying healthy. And that is, in my estimation, not a crazy thing to suggest. So that's really exciting from that perspective that he's been as good. I think of all the storylines coming out of camp, even Mason Tipton turning heads, he had another big play today, and all the things that you've seen, none of them have been as encouraging to me as Chase Young's emergence and his ability to continue to go through reps each and every day early on in Saints camp. One guy who's not been able to do that, Marshawn Lattimore. We hear from Dennis Allen here from yesterday talking about Lattimore and his injury.
Well, look, I think anytime guys, have injuries and miss significant time, and then all of a sudden, you get to training camp and, they're dealing with something else that's going to cause them to, miss some time. It's concerning, and yet it's not. I'm not losing a lot of sleep over it right now. I think the good news for us is I do think that we have some good players at the corner position that can pick up the slack when he's unavailable, and I think our guys have been able to do that over the last couple of years. And so certainly I want him to get healthy. I want him back out here. I think he's a big part of what we do defensively. When we're at our best, he's playing, at a high level, and so hopefully he'll be able to get his rehab done and get back out here sooner rather than later.
So as far as the injury report goes for New Orleans, you've certainly got Lattimore, who's out. Demario Davis missed some time today. Brian Brzee is a guy that I'm a little concerned about with the foot injury. That's something that you've got to get cleaned up and figured out. Kendre Miller has got to get back on the practice field. No two ways about it. Every time he's not out there, he's losing equity by the second. You've got a certain amount of that when you're a fairly early round draft pick and when you're young, but as it continues and the same trend continues on, you lose that equity, and when that runs out, like, they move on. So that's kind of where I am from a Saints injury perspective. Those guys, none of it appears to be totally, it's not going to be completely time consuming, like you're going to miss all of camp or every preseason game or miss part of the season. It's all appears to be on the quote-unquote minor, and it's easy to say when it's not my injury, but minor scale. But you'd like to get those guys back and healthy while avoiding the big-time injuries at this point in camp. So we'll continue to keep you updated as we learn more. If there's anything that comes out on Twitter from Saints camp over the next 25 minutes or so, we'll certainly keep you updated on it. All of our Saints content, if you're looking for it, you can find at Hunt on Saints on YouTube. All of our guests from out in California. We've had a number. Matthew Paris was with us yesterday. Sharif Ishak's good enough to join us when he can. Sean Fazan was on Monday. Luke Johnson's going to be with us tomorrow. Continue to kind of bring some guys in from out west, and they've done a great job of keeping us updated on what's going on. If you're looking for it, you can find it on YouTube. Hunt on Saints is where all of our Saints content lives. And if you're looking for LSU football and don't really care about the Saints, you can find that at Hunt on LSU as well. Speaking of LSU football, big flipped commitment for LSU in their favor earlier today. Shea Dixon's got an RPM pick for another player in this class, and one on offense and defense. So we'll talk a little recruiting when we come back on the Hunt Palmer Show.
You are now listening to the Hunt Palmer Show.
Audio Video Security Solutions, avssla.com. I love talking about the fun stuff, and trust me, surround sound and brand new TVs and all the stuff that they can do with the bells and whistles at Audio Video Security Solutions are really fun. But how about the stuff that makes you feel safe and secure? That's the most important thing. Nothing more important than the safety and security of your family and your home. And we trust Audio Video Security Solutions with the safety of our home. They've installed cameras at our house. They've installed the app that we use for our alarm. We can activate it and deactivate it remotely from an app on our phone. I can monitor my front door and my back door 24 hours a day, 7 days a week. I can record, replay, rewind, pause, zoom in, all that kind of stuff on a crystal clear picture right there on my phone. And I don't have to pay any cloud storage fees or any of those types of things. Audio Video Security Solutions handled all of it. Mitchell Fisher was right there front and center for the entire process. He's the owner of the company, and he cares about his clients and his customers. He makes sure that everything is set up to perfection, and we've been thrilled with, one, the setup that they gave us in the customer service. We had an issue a couple of weeks ago, couldn't figure something out. My wife called Mitchell. He was over there that afternoon getting it looked at and getting it fixed. That's what you get with the folks at Audio Video Security Solutions. Mitchell's cell phone number, 225-439-7920. Again, 225-439-7920. They're the People's Choice Award winner for Best Vendor at the Parade of Homes. Fantastic local company, whether it's audio, whether it's video, whether it's your security, they got you covered at Audio Video Security Solutions. Check them out online, avssla.com.
In times of need, get a full list of phone numbers, websites, and other important emergency information on the Demco Stormwatch page at 1045ESPN.com.
There's nothing chill about a hot, sweaty line. Unless you add Mountain Cold Refreshment. Coors Light. Choose chill.
Farming is a way of life for us. It's not something we get up in the morning and dread going do. It's just something we go to bed at night looking forward to getting up to go do. John Deere equipment is what we as farmers strive to have. It's in your blood, it's in your veins. It's just a part of who you are. Green is what we want to be in. The other tractors were acquired to patch it up to get to where you want to be. Where we want to be is in John Deere. Flip the switch and learn more about what it means to be powered by sunshine at sunequip.com.
At Relief Windows, we're more than windows. We're windows, doors, hardy plank, and vinyl siding. But our number one product is always customer satisfaction. Visit us online at reliefwindows.com.
teamed up to reimagine your parks, and you imagined big. With your help, we went to work, creating 12 beautiful community parks across the parish. A family-sized water park, miles and miles of trails, and parks just for your dogs. There are more places to splash, to explore, to run wild, and even soar. You imagined, we delivered. Gold. BRAC, your #1 park system in the nation.
Hey, it's Matt Moscona. For years, you've heard me tell you about Insurance Network of Louisiana, helping you find better coverage for less money. But it's not just for your home and auto. They also offer commercial property. So, retail stores, professional offices like doctors, dentists, attorneys, clothing boutiques. Insurance Network of Louisiana can find you better coverage for less money. They service the entire state of Louisiana, and they're local. So call today at 293-0450 or lainsurance.net.
Jerry and Benny Payne began Central Plumbing Company out of their driveway in Tanglewood subdivision. 50 years later and 4 generations down the road, we continue to serve Baton Rouge and the surrounding areas for all of their plumbing needs. Residential, commercial, industrial, or hospitality, Central Plumbing is here 24/7, 365.
We want to thank our customers, family, and friends for 50 years of...
Moscona inviting you to join us for Wednesday's Hump Day AFR, presented by Pluckers. The Tigers report for camp, and we'll get you an update on Saints camp out in Irvine. Join us 3 to 6, 104.5 ESPN Baton Rouge.
This is the Hunt Palmer Show on 104.5 ESPN Baton Rouge.
Big news for Brian Kelly, Blake Baker, and the Fighting Tigers today as they do get a flip from a previously committed SEC player. That player, Jaden Breaker, who was committed to the South Carolina Gamecocks until about an hour ago. And that's when he decided to flip things over to the Fighting Tigers of LSU. This was expected by a lot of folks in the industry. Breaker had been committed to the Gamecocks, but he came in for the Bayou Splash over the weekend. Everybody thought that there was a pretty good surge made there by LSU, and they do get the flip. Now, Breaker is a really, really projectable athlete. This is all from Shea Dixon over at On3, but he's 6'3", 217 as a rising senior. You talk about a guy in that physical shape, it's not hard at all to imagine him showing up on campus next year at 6'3", 230. I mean, you're talking 13 pounds away from 6'3", 230. As Shea reports, he's got 10-inch hands, 34-inch arms, an 80-inch wingspan, and he can break 11 seconds in the 100, sub-11 in the 100. This is a freakish athlete. And Blake Baker targeted him, wanted him in the fold, and LSU does make that move. Now, he's a 3-star by every recruiting service. And he's a guy that I think is maybe late to the party from that perspective. But when you look at the projectables, this is certainly a guy that LSU is excited about adding in to the fold. He is from South Gwinnett down in Snellville, Georgia. LSU has done a really good job of recruiting Georgia in the past. And we just talk about some Georgia linebackers. Kelvert Shepard, pretty good. Kevin Minner, pretty good. I think that LSU may be comfortable dipping into Georgia to go grab a linebacker. So Jaden Breaker decides he wants to be in this class. He joins Keelan Moses from right here in U-High, and then Charles Ross as the linebackers in this class that is starting to fill up. The numbers were a little bit slow, but you look at the last 10 days, and LSU started to pick up some more commitments. So Jalen Breaker, the latest in that group. But Shea Dixon from On3, and this is not some sort of private information. These are RPM picks that he's made public on 3. Doesn't believe that LSU is done in the coming days. He's put a couple of predictions in for LSU. One is on Mike Tyler, who is from the state of South Carolina, not committed to South Carolina like Breaker was, but from the state of South Carolina. He's another tight end. He was here for the Bayou Splash, big, physical, would join J.D. LaFleur, whose, of course, dad played tight end at LSU in the 90s, as the other tight end in this class. And if there's one thing that's very evident, it's that Brian Kelly is not slowing down with bringing in tight ends. He obviously started with Mason Taylor, but you go out and you get Kamorian Pimpton, and you get Mac Markway, and you get Trey Green, and then you go get J.D. LaFleur, and you're looking at Mike Tyler to bring in. Like, they're going to continue to bring in a lot of tight ends because they prioritize that position and believe in it very, very much. There's two things that I said when Brian Kelly got this job. I said, I don't know how he'll recruit the state of Louisiana. I don't know who he's going to bring on his staff. I don't know if he'll win the SEC. I don't know if he'll win a national championship. I don't know if he'll win 3 national championships. I don't know. But I feel pretty good about knowing that he's going to put a good offensive line out there and he's going to develop tight ends. Because that was just, there's too much track record from Notre Dame and even at Cincinnati that's going to happen. And we're seeing it from an offensive line perspective day after day after day. And now you're starting to see it at tight end. We talked about Trey Green at the top of this hour. And now Mike Tyler is a guy that Shea Dixon expects that LSU will land here in short order. Mike Tyler is a 3-star recruit. He is 6'4", 220 pounds, looking at NC State, Ole Miss, South Carolina, among some others. But LSU looking to be in good place with Mike Tyler there. And the other recruiting prediction machine that Shea Dixon put in for LSU today, and this is on 3 on the Bengal Tiger if you want to check it out, is Aiden Anding, the cornerback from Ruston. This is a guy that makes a ton of sense for Corey Raymond to bring in. He's an in-state guy. He has been a good player at Ruston. He is long and rangy like Corey Raymond prioritizes. He's 5'11", only 160 pounds, but that's the guy who's starting his senior year in high school here. You're going to figure that guy could easily add 20 pounds to that frame and all of a sudden be the type of player that Corey Raymond likes to add. You just don't see Corey Raymond grabbing a lot of 5'9" corners. But when you start to get up towards 6 feet, that's where he likes to live, and Aiden Anding fits that bill. Now, certainly Jabari Antoine does too, and I don't know that I would certainly suggest that because Jabari Antoine is committed elsewhere and that Aiden Anding appears to be trending to LSU, that means the Antoine recruitment is completely done. I'll be honest. Like, I will be completely honest. If Jabari Antoine visits Miami for a football game this year and sees that crowd in that stadium off campus for that program that hasn't been relevant in a long time and still decides to go through with that, I'll just say, okay, that's fine. Like, if that's what you want to do, that's fine. And it sounds like, 36-year-old homer dude that's, diminishing a kid's college choice because he only likes LSU. But have you seen the pictures on the internet of Miami Stadium when they play? There's no one there. No one cares. And that's fine. Miami's an incredible town. I honeymooned there. It's awesome. I see the appeal in going to that place year-round with that weather. But if you're going to be from right down the road and see 100,000 in Tiger Stadium playing in the SEC as opposed to going to Hard Rock and seeing 11 people in the stands playing Pitt, I think LSU's still in it for Antoine. That's what I mean to say when I'm talking about all this. But you can take Anding too. Keep in mind, we're going to have scholarships ballooning up to 105. You're not limited to 25 in a class. You just take good players. So while I think there are some that follow recruiting and go, oh, they're offering Anding now and they want him in the class, and they didn't want him initially because they thought they were going to get Antoine and Pickett, and they didn't get Antoine, so now they want Anding. I'm not quite there. I think that there's room for more people at the end. And I think that Anding makes a lot of sense. Texas is in play here. Miami's in play here. It's another 3-star, but I trust Corey Raymond's evaluation of corners, and if they think that Anding has earned a spot in their evaluation and they like what they saw at the Bayou Slash and had a good relationship with him, I think that makes a lot of sense for Anding to be in this class, and I would expect in pretty short order that he would make his way into this class. You continue to look at LSU's rankings in this class, and it continues to look really, really good. LSU is the number 3 class in the country. You've got 3 5-stars, 13 4-stars, and 3 3-stars, but you're starting to catch up from a numbers perspective, like I said. Ohio State tops this list at number 1. They've got 24 commits. Alabama's number 2. They've got 21. You're right there at number 3 with 19 commitments. If you look at average rating, LSU currently sits at 2nd behind Ohio State, 92.3. Oh, sorry, they're sitting first. Oregon's first. Oregon's only got 14 commits. They're 92.46, LSU 92.34. But anyway you slice it, This class looks fantastic on paper. It's just that. It's paper in a transfer portal era. It is what it is. But we know what Brian Kelly's intention is. His intention is to sign high-level high school classes and develop from there instead of running to the transfer portal and trying to restock the shelves every single winter. That's not what he wants to do. This is the way to do that, and I think things are trending in a very, very positive situation. It's been a great couple of weeks for LSU on the recruiting trail, and Shea Dixon and his team expect that to continue here over the next couple of days. Today's news, Jaden Breaker from South Carolina commits from Georgia, a South Carolina commit, flips to LSU. He becomes the next member of this class at tight end for the Tigers. All right, we'll come back. Close things up with some take it or leave it and maybe a little bit of thought on LSU's fall camp opening tomorrow. We'll do that next on the Hunt Palmer Show.
You are now listening to the Hunt Palmer Show.
Visit LeBear's Baton Rouge Casino this summer for exciting live sports action. We've got the biggest screens around, and ESPN Bet is live in Louisiana. Plus, Pin Play Rewards members can win up to $500 in pin cash every single week if you visit pinplaysports.com/cover5. Visit today. Register for your chance to play and win. LeVare's Baton Rouge Casino, your live sports headquarters. Bring your crew for all the action. Must be 21 or older. Gambling problem? Call 877-770-STOP.
Get the 104.5 ESPN Baton Rouge app powered by Bayou Ford and tap the microphone icon to send us your thoughts in an audio message. Your message could be played on air during Off the Bench with Esther and T-Bob, the Hunt Palmer Show, and after further review with Matt Moscone.
Érase una vez un Infinity, diseñado para despertar tu imaginación y desafiarte a soñar, con 3 lujosas filas de asientos. El totalmente nuevo Infinity QX80 de 3 filas.
The Windsor Senior Living Community in Mandeville, Louisiana is a beautiful, vibrant apartment community geared towards seniors. They are nestled right in the heart of Mandeville, where seniors live a more carefree lifestyle in spacious apartments with the peace of mind that comes from having a little extra help. Call the Windsor at 985-624-8040 to schedule a lunch and tour. Come see how the Windsor can be your passport to peace of mind.
Electricity is all around us, and our families depend on it. Every day is sparked by the power of a cold drink or a warm meal, a movie night, and a comforting light at the end of a dark hallway. From sunrise to sunset, playtime to bedtime, our team is ready to take care of your electrical needs. Even in the case of an after-hours emergency, the light in your life shines brighter with Mr. Electric.
Farming is a way of life for us. It's not something we get up in the morning and dread going do. It's just something we go to bed at night looking forward to getting up to go do. John Deere equipment is what we as farmers strive to have. So it's in your blood, it's in your veins. It's just a part of who you are. Green is what we want to be in. The other tractors were acquired to patch it up to get to where you want to be. Where we want to be is in John Deere. Flip the switch and learn more about what it means to be powered by sunshine at sunequip.com.
There it is, the extra mile, on the border of expected and extraordinary for those willing to go further, like vans customized for work or play, with safety and tech to keep you connected, supported by a 5-star sales, service, and finance team, and backed by the 1-star you know. So go the extra mile. It's never crowded, because so few have what it takes to go there. Mercedes-Benz Vans.
When it comes to ending cancer, we push forward, always working together for you. That's why our cancer experts at Ochsner have clinically integrated with MD Anderson Cancer Center. This means advanced cancer care, including access to life-saving clinical trials and integrating care to treat the whole you. Introducing Ochsner MD Anderson Cancer Center. Long live you.
The Bench with Jacob Hester and T-Bob Hebert. Mornings from 7 to 10 on 104.5 ESPN Baton Rouge. You're listening to the Hunt Palmer Show on 104.5 ESPN Baton Rouge.
Got Haley Van Lith on the TV in here, Euro stepping all over some country I never heard of in women's 3-on-3 basketball, but it appears they're losing, Beck.
Yeah, I think this is a replay. I believe they lost already. I think they lost.
To who?
I believe it's Azerbaijan, but I'm going to confirm that.
Azerbaijan? I couldn't even give you a continent on that. I would guess Europe.
Yeah, it's I think it's Eastern Europe.
I don't like losing to them. Step it up, Stars and Stripes.
Not good. The men lost to, I think they played Serbia or let's see, I can't remember who it was. They lost pretty handily too. It was like
we got Jimmer Fredette out there. I mean, I have a good Jimmer Fredette experience. I don't know if it's a great story, but I was working with Shea Dixon at Scout back in the old Scout days, and I was interning with him there. And Wisconsin made the Sweet 16 in New Orleans. It was Wisconsin, Florida, Butler, and BYU. And they weren't going to send their scout rider down to cover the Elite 8 and Sweet 16 in New Orleans. If they made the Final Four, they would send him there. So they went in network to Shea, who was here, and said, hey, can you go and get some quotes for us from Wisconsin so we can write a story even though we're not there? And said, sure. So Shea texted me. He's like, you want a credential to the Sweet 16? I was like, yeah. So we sat courtside in New Orleans at the arena and watched Florida, Butler, BYU, and Wisconsin play, and Jimmer Fredette was playing for BYU. And watching the shot where he was taking shots from was just astounding. I don't even remember. I think they lost the first game. I know Butler made it out, but I don't remember who played who in what game on the first day. But watching Jimmer courtside in the NCAA tournament at BYU was very, very cool. I don't know if he has quite the same cachet play on 3-on-3 at age what?
Yeah,
I mean, he would have been
30,
like
he's like 35, I think.
Yeah, you never know when those guys take their mission. So like I don't know how old he could be or how old he was when I was watching him play. But yeah, it's a little past his prime.
Yeah. The men lost to Serbia 22-14.
That's very poor.
Jimmer had 4 points in that one, so not great.
Get some buckets, Jimmer.
And the U.S. actually lost the women's team. They lost yesterday to Germany. And it appears
so we suck at 3-on-3. That's what you're telling me.
Well, they're winning. They're winning right now, 15-13. So hopefully they can win. But yeah, and the women's team actually has good players. They have Haley Van Lith. They have Ryan Howard, who was the #1 overall pick a couple of years ago in the WNBA.
Why isn't she on the Olympic team? She's not good enough.
I guess not.
Guess not.
But yeah. So what they're
this is Caitlin Clark Nation. The 3-on-3 tournament.
That's
she
true.
Would crush fools in this thing.
That's true.
If you don't play, that's ridiculous. They should have put her on that. Maybe she didn't want to go play in that.
Probably not.
That's what they should have done.
Probably not going to risk
That is
injury.
the answer.
Yeah, you're probably right. But yeah, the players said that they haven't had a lot of time together. Not really any chemistry in 3-on-3. It's very important to have chemistry, apparently. So that's what their excuses were for why they lost. But
put Caitlin Clark on that thing.
Probably.
All right, I got some thoughts in the Bayou 4 chat before we get to take it or leave it. I asked what people wanted me to look at tomorrow during practice. Saw who Will Campbell destroys. Probably not going to be doing any destroying tomorrow. They won't have full pads on, so that won't happen. Wanted to see what the starting secondary looks like. I talked about that in my first segment. What else did people want to see? Defense. I got that. Like to hear how Shelton Sampson's looking. He'll be out there. We'll certainly get a look at him. Hopefully he's catching the football. Want to know how fast Caleb Jackson's looking at that 235-pound frame. Think he'll probably look pretty fast because he's a pretty fast dude. So that's some of the things. I'll get a full report on what's going on at camp tomorrow. They'll crank things up at 9:45 in the morning. All right, Beck, take it or leave it.
All righty, first one here. DJ Moore signed a $110 million extension with $82.6 million guaranteed, which I believe makes him one of the top paid receivers in the league. His celebratory meal was an 8-piece Popeyes family dinner. Take it or leave it.
I'm not here to hate on an 8-piece from Popeyes. Like, that sounds very, very good. You know, I might lean towards the steak there with that big deal, but Popeyes, like, I'm not going to hate on that. I'll tell you this. I lived with two guys from Memphis in college, and they were all fired up when Tyreek Evans committed to Memphis to play, and he said he was going to do his celebratory dinner at Red Lobster. I do have to draw the line at Red Lobster. That's not where I'm going to do my celebratory meal. There are plenty of chain restaurants that can do a little better job than Red Lobster, in my opinion. I don't think he had the option to go to Corks in Memphis in 2008 or whenever that was. Certainly that was not an option because Corks just started 2 years ago in Baton Rouge. But I will throw a little shade on the Red Lobster love there. I don't have any shade for Popeyes. That sounds pretty good.
Yep, I agree with you there. Popeyes, I mean, look, it's the classic.
I haven't had Popeyes in forever. Like, that sounds really good.
Yeah, go grab some chicken for dinner tonight, huh? There you go.
All I've eaten the last 2 days is Kind bars, so that's not great.
Not good. All right, next one here. The NFL is looking at a replacement for the chain gang. Hawkeye technology will be used in some preseason games, which of course is the technology used in tennis, and they started to use it in soccer as well. Take it or leave it.
I'll take it. Like, we've made fun of this for years now, that you've got all this technology, and we're talking about two old fat guys carrying chains around. That really doesn't need to happen very much. Plus, it's kind of dangerous to have those chains there, and they're attached to people, and you're tripping over things and all that kind of stuff. Yeah, I think we can probably figure this out pretty quickly. I don't know what the kinks would be to work through. You can do that in the preseason, but like, it feels like if we're going to make this leap in the preseason, that first football game 2025, we got Hawkeye working. Like, that should not be a tough decision.
No, it shouldn't be. It's been used in tennis for, I think, over 30 years or something like that. I'm not really sure why it's taken so long for other sports to adopt it as well, including baseball with the strike zone. But moving on, as we talked about, the U.S. men's and women's 3-on-3 teams led by Jimmer Fredette, Haley Van Lith, both lost their first games. Looks like the women are tied right now. They played at 21, so it's a close game. Hopefully they can win, but take it or leave it. The two teams losing.
I'll leave that, and these games go really quick because
Yeah,
you're
they
talking
do.
about playing to 20 or 21, maybe 25, but you're playing by ones and twos. I've been watching this kind of off to the side as we've been doing the show, not like locking in, but I'm watching. They don't shoot threes ever. They are going right to the hole every time because there's a lot of space, and they're shooting layups like on the reg, and that's why they're scoring so quickly. These games go really fast, so I've never watched 3-on-3 basketball, but it's a little interesting.
All right, last one here. Breakfast for dinner. Take it or leave it.
I'm going to take it. I like breakfast for dinner.
It's not bad.
That's what's happening at the Palmer House tonight. We got eggs. We got avocado. We got bacon. We got some crescent rolls that are going to be coming out. Like, got omelet possibilities with some spinach and some sausage and stuff. Like, I don't have to just eat that in the morning. I like breakfast for dinner. It's not something I'm going to do every week, but I'm good with it from time to time.
There's nothing wrong with it, man. It's like, why does the food have to be only confined to a certain time? Doesn't make any sense to me.
I mean, I'll tell you this. There's a diner in Shreveport called Strawn's, and they have breakfast, and everyone loves to go there for breakfast. When I go to Strawn's for breakfast, I'm going double bacon cheeseburger. Like, it's great.
Okay.
I'm going to eat that. That's just what's going to happen at Strawn's for breakfast.
Nothing wrong with that.
I'm all good with eating that in the morning. I love a Coca-Cola Classic in the morning as well, which people think is ridiculous.
That's a little bit crazy in my opinion.
I mean, it's just delicious.
It
Haven't
is,
had one of those in
but-
3 weeks either. That's a real tough, sensitive subject there.
You're doing good, hon.
I'm doing all right. But breakfast or dinner, I'm all in on, and I'm looking forward to that this evening at the Casa de Palmer, which, by the way, incredibly peaceful without the Myers man this week. He's in Shreveport at Camp Grandma. And
Never would have thought that it would be so much more calm without him there. I mean, it's just crazy to think.
Child does not slow down very much. He does not stop screaming very much. He's just
but at least he sleeps.
got a lot of
on it.
injury.
You realize
He
how
sleeps very well.
lucky y'all are, right?
I do. I don't know that I fully appreciate it because I've never had the other side, but I do appreciate it.
I'm sure if you guys have any more kids and they're not like that, you'll realize how incredible.
I don't
it
want
is.
that to happen.
I wouldn't either.
I want the sleeping children
That's
should number
nice.
2 show up. So we'll hope that is certainly the case. All right, that's it for a Wednesday edition of the Hunt Palmer Show, and that's it for Take It or Leave It. If you missed any of the show today, catch it on demand, 1045ESPN.com's on demand tab, Apple Podcasts, Spotify, Google, wherever you find your sound, you can always find us. I know that may be more important now than it's been the last couple of months as we've waded through the abyss of the summer, but that is over because the Saints are in camp. And LSU has reported today, and we'll crank things up tomorrow, and we will have real live action things to talk about as opposed to only watch lists and athletic pieces on ranking things of the top 25 years or Olympic fodder. It'll be real live football tomorrow, so if you missed any of our shows always feel free to catch them on demand. OTB, Live at Lunch, Hunt Palmer Show, AFR. They're all there in their entirety wherever you find your sound. Search Hunt Palmer Show. Like, subscribe, rate, review. We always appreciate it. We open the show with some Clint Kubiak sound from out in L.A. Talked about LSU's safeties. I kind of think LSU could have some better safety play this year. I gave the reasons why in the first hour. If you missed that, you can catch it on YouTube at Hunt on LSU. What If Wednesday? It was fun today. I'm talked about what I'm going to look for at LSU's camp tomorrow at the end of hour number 1. Meet the Freshmen. Had a couple of good ones. Trades Green and Gabe Relaford. You can go back and listen to that. Dennis Allen sound on Chase Young and Marshawn Lattimore at 2:15. And a big recruiting win for LSU with a flip of Jaden Breaker. That's it for us. We're back tomorrow, same time, same place. Matt's going to drive you home on After Further View. Real football to talk about tomorrow on the Hunt Palmer Show.
There it is, the extra mile, on the border of expected and extraordinary for those willing to go further, like vans customized for work or play.